One of the things they write, find the sweet spot on jobs and deficits. As presidential high wire acts go, it doesn't get any more high stakes than this. President Obama squeezed between a 9.4% unemployment rate and a national debt estimate at $14 trillion. He'll chart a middle course, offering up a slate of new and pre-owned spending plans to spur job growth, along with a slate of deficit reduction plans. The article goes on to say that the spending proposals, he calls them investments, are likely to include major commitments to funding green jobs, bridge, highway, airport, and railroad construction projects.
terminated.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed to S-Con-Res 3.
The clerk will report.
S-Con-Res 3, concurrent resolution honoring the service and sacrifice of Staff Sergeant Salvatore Junta and so forth.
Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the measure.
I now ask unanimous consent that concurrent resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, the motion to reconsider be laid on the table, there be no intervening action or debate, and any statements relating to this matter appear in the record at the appropriate place as if read.
Is there objection? Without objection.
I ask consent that S-Res 14, which is a resolution honoring the victims and heroes of the shooting on January 8, 2011 in Tucson, Arizona, submitted earlier today by Senators McCain and Kyle, remain at the desk. The Senate proceed to its consideration at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, Wednesday, January 26th. There will be 3.5 hours of debate equally divided between the Majority Leader and the Republican Leader or their designees. That upon the use or yielding back of that time, the Senate proceed to vote on adoption of the resolution, that there are no amendments to be in order, motions or points of order in any way prior to the vote on adoption. Further, that if the resolution is adopted, the preamble be agreed to and the motion to reconsider be laid on the table, and there be no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection? Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the presiding officer of the Senate be authorized to appoint a committee on the part of the Senate to join with the like committee on the part of the House to escort the President of the United States into the House chamber for the joint session to be held tonight at 9 p.m.
Without objection.
I am told there are 2 bills at the desk for their first reading. I ask that we consider those en bloc.
The clerk will read the titles of the bills en bloc for the first time.
S-162, a bill to cut $500 billion in spending in fiscal year 2011. S-163, a bill to require that the government S-163, a bill to require that the government prioritize all obligations on the debt held by the public in the event that the debt limit is reached.
Mr. President,
The Majority Leader.
I ask for the second reading en bloc, but I object to my own request en bloc.
Objection is heard. The bills will be read for the second time on the next legislative day.
Mr. President,
Republican Leader.
I understand there's a bill at the desk, and I ask for its first reading.
The clerk will report.
H.R. 2, an act to repeal the job-killing health care law and health care-related provisions in the Health Care and Education Reconciliation Act of 2010.
I now ask for a second reading, and in order to place the bill on the calendar under the provisions of Rule 14, I object to my own request.
Objection is heard. The bill will be read for the second time on the next legislative day.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent the Senate recess till 8:30 p.m. tonight and proceed as a body at that time to the Hall of the House of Representatives, 8:40 p.m. for the joint session of Congress, provided under the provisions H-Con-Res 10. That upon dissolution of the joint session, the Senate adjourn until 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, Wednesday, January 26th. Following the prayer and the pledge, the journal proceedings be approved to date. The morning hour be deemed expired. The time for the 2 leaders be reserved for use later in the day. And following any leader remarks, the Senate proceed to a period of morning business until 10:30 a.m. with the time equally divided and controlled between the 2 leaders or the designees. The Senators permitted to speak for up to 10 minutes each during that time, with the Republicans controlling the first half and the majority controlling the second half. Finally, Mr. President, that following morning business, the Senate proceed to the consideration of S-Con-Res 14, a resolution honoring the victims of the tragedy in Tucson, Arizona, as provided under the previous order. And finally, I ask that upon disposition of the resolution, the Senate resume morning business. The Senators permitted to speak for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection.
Mr. President, Senators should therefore expect a roll call vote at approximately 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon on adoption of the Tucson resolution. I would also say, Mr. President, that we've had a lot of good work today. We haven't been on the floor a lot doing what appears to be a lot of substantive stuff, but what we've been able to accomplish in the halls of this building and the various Senate office buildings has been extremely important, and I appreciate everyone's cooperation. Senator McConnell and I have had occasions to speak, and we know how difficult it has been for everybody involved, but we think the result is going to be very, very good for the Senate. If there's no further business to come before the Senate, I ask that we recess under the previous order.
Senate stands in recess until 8:30 p.m.
Senators have been debating today a proposal to change Senate rules dealing with how bills are considered.